Welcome to the GCN Tech Clinic, where Alex and I aim to answer your bike tech and maintenance-related questions. This week, we're on tour in Majorca, staying at the Zafiro Palace Hotel in Alcudia. Cheers to them. We are going to answer as many of your questions as possible within the allotted time, and as ever, you can submit your questions down below using the hashtag askgcntech in the comments section.
Right,
first?
Shall we? First one is from Mike Kelly 1771. They specifically addressed to you. They say, Ollie, if you have any transparent green tubeless rim tape, cut out a tiny dot and stick it over the Di2 battery charge light. Like in black and white photography, it will increase and decrease the contrast of green and red colours. Green will appear white, red will appear dark. Easy to tell how charged your battery is. This is a follow-on from last week where you specifically said I was laughing at what you were describing as your very own disability of being colourblind.
I called you out as a bigot.
What's that all about?
Laughing at disability. Anyway, this is an interesting hack. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to have to try that out and see if it aids me.
I'm going to assume that you don't have any transparent green tubeless rim tape, but you can get some.
I'll find something. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike Kelly.
Next question is from Philippe
Chevrier.
4812. Yeah, and they say they have a matte black Trek Madone SLR. Apparently, it wasn't their first choice of finish. Matte finishes tend to scratch if you look at them the wrong way. Is there anything that we can recommend in order to protect it in the long run? They say they take great care of their equipment, but accidents do happen. Yeah?
Yeah.
Not sure why you're laughing at that. Any reason?
I just want to know what their first choice in colour was. Let us know in the comments, Philippe. I would say there are a number of things you can do with matte finishes. Matte finishes are notorious for showing finger marks and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? That's the downside. They do look cool, but that is a problem. And yes, little sort of slight micro scratches that you get in it, that they will show up as well. However, you can do the same things that you would do with a car. And so the first thing I would do is, in terms of washing it, I would always spray on some kind of bike clean first and rinse it down. And then once you've rinsed it, do a contact wash after that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they clean their bikes, they just go straight in with a contact wash where they have a brush.
Yeah.
Don't use a brush on your frame. Or you go in straight away with a microfiber or a sponge and they're rubbing the surface, but they haven't pre-washed it.
They're causing half the scratches.
Yeah, so that dirt is then, like you would on a car, you wouldn't do that because it would just scratch the paint. Same thing. So proper washing procedures will help reduce that a lot. And then after that, you can do good surface treatments. So again, like a car, people wax and polish cars. You can apply similar sort of products, like Silca have the graphene wax that you can spray on the top and then just buff it with a clean microfiber. And again, that will sort of clear out micro scratches and imperfections just to the naked eye, so that
it'll just sort of help protect the paint a little bit more, won't it?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is taking a little bit of extra care and time to look after it, and then I think it'll all be good.
Well, he did say he looks after his equipment.
Well, look after it extra careful. Right, Ollie, next question, who have we got?
We've got
user
JF8YW2GN6B. And they say, 2 tube-related questions, please. 1, can you use TPU inner tubes on rim brake bikes? I heard that they may not cope with the heat build-up on the rims. And 2, any reason why you wouldn't put sealant in a butyl tube to avoid pinch flats?
Can I go straight in with this? Depending on what brand of TPU inner tube you're referring to, some suggest that you don't use them in rim brakes, some say they've got no problem whatsoever. So do your research and then choose a brand of inner tube accordingly. In terms of putting sealant...
But yes, you're right, the heat build-up can be an issue.
Yeah, on some, so just double check.
Yeah.
In terms of putting sealant into a butyl tube, you can do that, but putting sealant isn't gonna avoid you getting a pinch flat. A pinch flat is where the tube has been pinched and split, and the sealant isn't gonna block that hole up because it'd be too large.
Quite big. It's 2 holes as well usually, and they're quite big. So sealant's gonna struggle. Sealant inside an inner tube can offer some puncture protection. It's just not as effective as a tubeless setup, and then it's a bit of faff putting sealant inside your inner tube as well. So
easiest way to avoid pinch flats, quite literally just pump your tyres off a bit harder.
Or use a slightly bigger tyre.
Simple. Next question is from the Milos Juric. Hey boys and girls, I have quite an odd question here. Since many years ago, they've kind of found their position on their road bike, which is low on the front end. Thing is, every time they've been jumping onto rental bikes, buying a new bike, or just messing around with the setup, found the more upright they go at the front, the less comfortable they feel. And it feels as if the level of pain is coming from the lower back. As soon as they get lower, it seems to get fine again. Are they a freak or missing something? I think it's quite a simple solution here, what they're talking about. The more upright you go, the more you distribute your weight further to your back and your saddle. Therefore, you're putting more weight there. It's putting a bit of additional stress on your back.
Yeah, this is totally normal. You know, you ride that other bike most of the time, and that's what you're used to. Another thing that you find is that when you have a more sort of aggressive position where you're longer and lower at the front, riders typically have less pressure on their sit bones as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, a saddle that feels comfortable to you in that position, if you put that same saddle on a bike where you're more upright, all of a sudden your weight is distributed more onto the saddle, you're sitting on it a bit differently, and it can start to feel completely different and uncomfortable. So, yes, it's all down to fit.
All right, next question, who we got?
Gogglebot. Good name. Says, what is the difference between a -6 and a -17 degree stem? Is it better to run the 110 -17 stem with a spacer underneath, or a 120 -6 degrees stem without spacers? Is there any difference in how the bike is handling?
Well, I'm going to say it's not drastically going to affect
Can I answer this really quickly?
Yeah.
11 degrees.
As you were reading it out, I was like, yeah, you're going to say
yeah, sorry about that.
a slightly shorter stem is going to sharpen up the steering marginally on your bike, but I'm going to throw out that I don't think it's drastically going to change anything. No. Personally, I would choose the -6 stem because I don't really like the stem being too aggressive.
Yes, I think the main reason why sort of big negative stems have sort of ever been popular is, well, for two reasons. One, some sprinters have always liked to get super low at the front end, just, you know, for the sprint and being aero when they're in the drops and stuff, going full chat. The other thing is certain bikes have been quite high at the front end in terms of their stack. So, you know, years ago, Velo pursued this geometry where they thought that they were making bikes designed for normal people, which is quite commendable, really, rather than pros. And so they had notoriously high stack at the front.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the pro teams at the time who were sponsored by Velo, like Garmin, Slipstream, were struggling a bit with this because they were much higher than what they were used to as pros. And so they all seemed to have -17 slammed stems pointing downwards on all their bikes. And it wasn't trying to be cool, it was just because they needed to be, or felt they needed to be lower at the front.
Fair. Claire Palmer next, 7148. What's the best way to prepare your bike for winter in snowy, slushy conditions where road salt is used? Might seem early, but winter is coming. I'm going to throw out there first, get a good set of mud guards. It'll keep most of the crap off of your bike.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Otherwise, in terms of like maintenance jobs, I would think take bits apart, clean it up, re-grease it, use a thick grease, and then regularly clean and lubricate your bike.
Yes, thick marine grease is a really good tip. That's a John Canning's favourite, that one. But yeah, like thick marine grease in your bottom bracket and stuff, and in your headset and all those places where you don't want salt, corrosion to happen and bearings in. And it's just thicker and doesn't get washed out as easily. One of the other things which I've come to do involves my most middle-aged purchase to date.
Which is?
My dehumidifier.
Oh, God.
Now, so what I do is after I've taken the bikes out and they've been in horrible, salty, wet roads and stuff, I put them in the room with the dehumidifier.
Oh, goodness.
Dries them out.
Yeah.
No, it genuinely works. Like, a genuinely good tip. If you own a dehumidifier, dehumidify your bike.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is, with regards to the sort of lube and stuff, if you are having a dedicated winter bike that is likely to get wet routinely on rides, I would consider switching from using like a waxed chain to using a good quality drip-on wet lube.
Good
because
advice.
you're probably going to have to apply it like a lot more frequently. And the wet lube is designed to perform in the wet, but do your research. You know that not all wet lubes are equal, and some of them will eat your chain and cause it to wear far quicker.
Yeah.
And they attract the dirt a lot more. But like we're sponsored by them, like full disclosure. But the Silca Synergetic has been independently shown. Anyway, next question.
Right, we're on to our final question for this week's Tech Clinic. Ollie, it's about chain waxing. Take it away.
Oh, I love a waxing question. Okay, so this is from Payball24. Hi, everyone. I'm about to start my waxing journey. I need to clean my drivetrain thoroughly. My cassette and chain rings are filthy. And I would like to use a lot of degreaser. Since the bike-specific stuff is pretty expensive, could I just use turpentine or similar products for this? Or is it not powerful enough? Thanks very much. You're the best.
That actually does say that. Ollie did make that up. I would say, certainly in terms of getting stuff prepped ready to wax, you want to be using something that isn't going to leave a residue or film behind, hence why specific products exist, so that it's not going to affect how the wax sticks onto the chain. Yeah,
I would say the best sort of procedure to do is you could just use some good old like soapy water on there first, and that will get rid of a lot of dirt. But then the real sort of greasy organic residue on there that's been left from previous lubricants, the best way to get rid of that is with an organic solvent. So turpentine can work, acetone you can buy fairly cheaply because it's used as nail varnish remover, and isopropyl alcohol is probably would be my pick.
Yeah, you can buy those in fairly large quantities, quite a bit cheaper than a bike-specific degreaser.
Yeah. So with those things, but even that said, I think you wouldn't need to use a huge amount of degreaser on them as long as you use it properly. So, if you sort of spray some degreaser on there, let it sit for a minute, then agitate it with a brush, and then maybe spray on a little bit more just to keep it loose, and then rinse it, you will get rid of most things, especially if you've removed the components off the bike. You can clean them much more thoroughly that way. I'm
totally with you. I have found if I've gone in this exact situation, it's taken me maybe like 2 or 3 goes of degreasing in the chain and the drivetrain to get it how I'd want it to be. So just maybe bear that in mind.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was it. This week's Tech Clinic on tour is over. Hope you found it helpful. As always, apologies if we didn't get to answer your question, but be persistent. Put it in the comment section down below, and we might get to it next week when we're back at GCN Mega Base.
Yes, and we've not just come all the way to Majorca to film a tech clinic at the Zafiro Palace Hotel. We're actually here filming some other videos, including a lap of the island.
We did that yesterday. That's why I look so tired.
Rode an entire lap of the island, trying to be quicker than Team Ineos.
Yeah, you'll have to subscribe to GCN Tech and GCN to make sure you see it.
Yeah, don't miss it. Right, well, should we go now?
Yeah, we're out of here. Cool, bye.
Love you, bye.